Yelling at my son at the same time while telling y'all how to do this and shit, but I want to see. So I'm just basically pouring this over, just enough to get the flavor. I don't want to overwhelm it too much. You can reduce this. You can actually reduce this down some more, so it can actually be thicker. But for me, this is fine. You know, for somebody else, they probably gonna want a thicker sauce. If you were serving this in a restaurant, most likely it wouldn't be so much of a glaze, and the glaze would probably be shinier. For me, I just wanted to be okay for my picky son, so he can still have his chicken and we can still enjoy our meals. Yeah.
So we can't go heavy on sauce. I love sauce. He doesn't. Hi, by the way, people.
Ah.
And if you like collagen, you use butter, and butter. Alright.
So, like I was telling him off camera, is that hopefully I won't have to kick my son's ass on camera. Please don't call ACS on me. I swear I used to work as a social worker before this.
Stop crying over. Sit down.
Like I was telling them off camera, basically I like lemon herb rice.
Watch the cartoon. Chill the hell out.
You don't want to overcook your rice. Being that this shit is going to sit in the heat. Oh, sorry, can I say shit? Well, I guess I can't say shit. I know you said it like 4 times. But,
TV 14.
Shut up. But basically, when I made this rice, I added Jasmine. This is another thing that you really don't do. I'm sorry. This is my home, so I am not cooking like I am in the kitchen.
Sure. It's for film.
Yes, I didn't know it was on. I didn't know it was gonna be filmed. Whatever. Obviously, you see from the side talk, I didn't know I was gonna be filmed. Anyway, never use a fork. Shut up.
What?
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, use a wooden spoon. It's really the reason why you want to use a wooden spoon is that you don't want to scrape your pan. You scrape the bottom of your pan, there's a chance that you're picking up Teflon. Teflon, somebody eats it, you're going into the hospital, you get sick. So, being that I've done this so many times, I am very anal about not touching the bottom of the pan with the fork, even though my chef would probably kill me if he sees this video and sees me with the fork, and I'll probably fail my class. Thanks, chef.
Yeah, don't knock shit over like. Oh, look, I said shit. Oh, shit.
Yeah, obviously, kids don't watch this video.
TVMA.
But,
We've been upgraded.
Basically, just looking for, like, just to do a lemon herb rice, almost like what you would think of Chipotle. You always start off with cold water. It's something I actually put on the Cake Monologues blog. I actually put it on, well, I put it on the blog and I put it on the Facebook site when I had a little trivia. You always start off with cold water. People ask why you start off with cold water. What's wrong with hot water? Have you seen the bottom of a hot water tank? It's nasty. It's gooky. Personally, I don't like basements. They creep me out. They wake me out. And I am a bug freak. Sorry, not going down there. But if you look at the bottom of a water tank, think of your hot water boiling over and bringing all that stuff to the surface inside of your sink. Always start with cold water. I can't emphasize it enough. Start off with cold water. Put it into your pan with your rice. Even if you're making pasta and you want to bring it to a rapid boil, always pour cold water into the pan and just cook it from there. For me, if I don't have a measuring cup, I'll put the rice in the pan first, pour the water over it, and I'll have it slightly over it, almost like a guide. It's my little shortcut to doing it if I don't have time to measure it out with a measuring cup. I put 2 bay leaves in there. You don't want to overwhelm it with the bay leaves because bay leaves are really strong. It's very fragrant and it's very, you're going to taste a lot of seasoning with it. You can do a little bit of basil. I prefer fresh basil, but I'm cooking for my home and a hungry kid and husband and a friend. Hey, and the cameraman too. So, yeah, you do that. You can either squeeze like a half a lemon into this. This obviously serves about 6 to 8 people, depending upon how heavy your hand is.
And the chicken.
Sorry, y'all. I got a little bit.
Sorry.
But you add your basil, you add your oregano, you add your lemon, you add your bay leaf. You let this jasmine rice cooks fairly quickly, so you want to say, but something that serves about 6 to 8 people, you're saying probably about 10 to 12 minutes tops. Whatever you do, you don't want to overcook your rice. You don't want it to be to the point where it's gooky unless you're making something like sticky rice, or you're actually going to take this and carry it over to the next day, which you need to wrap up pretty quickly. Rice breeds a lot of bacteria, believe it or not. The longer this is sitting out here, 20 minutes past, it's, I don't want to gross you out, but it's pretty freaking nasty. I'm going to put the lid on this, with that being said. Unless you're, if you're planning on actually doing stir-fry rice, really quick or whatever, then you don't want your rice to be really sticky. You want it to be separated enough that, it's good and it's appetizing. With that being said, I don't have any fresh basil, and I don't have scallions, unfortunately, which is like one of my favorite things to garnish your plate with. So, next best thing. Unfortunately, I have no greens that I made with tonight's meal, so I know my kid is loving the shit out of this, but I hate it.
Yeah, he hates green.
He hates
anything vegetable.
Anything
in that
vegetable.
class.
And then he'll tell you, oh, mommy, I love carrots.
Yeah, but won't eat them.
He ain't gonna eat them. Simple plating, simple rule. Take your stuff towards the center.
Towel on me, that's awesome.
I'll take one. I have a little bit of onions on it just for showcase purposes. You can do something simple like layering over. Some people would say start off with your rice. Not typical. I already told you I'll eat my first before I start a meal.
The spoon's on top of the rice thingy for you.
I'm not looking for that.
Oh.
Well,
just trying to help.
I know you are. I'm going to take something like this just so I can have a decent proportion. Now, a good way of doing this, the old-fashioned way that some people do this is they'll take a cone. They'll take one I don't even know what the proper term is, but you would use this to pour liquids through, and it's like a thin container, whatever. I ain't being fancy smashy tonight. There's several ways that you can go about this. You can start off with laying your rice at the bottom and basically laying your chicken over. Or you can just simply take it, scoop it. Principle about plating. You don't want to overdo it, and you don't want it to spread on the plate too much. Like this just fell over a little bit. If I had gloves or something like that, because if you're in a restaurant, you don't want somebody using their bare hand touching your already cooked food. Right? I know I don't. I'm very anal like that. If you want to get this a little bit of color, this already has oregano in it. It's not going to do much. And unfortunately, this is not exactly the best thing to kind of garnish it up with, but you can always use things like basil, particularly fresh basil. Parsley is a good thing to dress it up with. Being that I'm putting it on a green plate, it's not going to really showcase it as much as I like, but you can use things like, let's say, shredded carrots. If you're going to use something like that that's raw, your best bet is to actually blanch it. Blanch it is just a process where you boil water, you put it inside the pot, you're shocking then you're going to shock it afterwards with an ice bath. You always want to have your ice bath on the side. You'll put it in the water for about 30 seconds to a minute, pull it out. It's going to be steaming at this point. It's a little bit soft. You use it a lot for crudité dips, basically. You shock it in your water for about 30 seconds, pull it out, and then just start the shredding. You can shred it with one of these, or you can use pretty much like a box grater, I always keep that nearby. Mine's a little beat up, but so what? It works, You can use this side if you want it to be really thick. If you want it the standard size, use something like this. But if you want something really fine that looks like a chiffonade, you want to use something like this. This, maybe not so much, but you get the point. Use something that has colors. If you really want to attract, if you're hosting, you want to use something like your greens. Maybe you want to use tomatoes to garnish the top. You can do something as simple as a pico de gallo, which is nothing but chopped up tomatoes, cilantro, and some lime. It depends upon how you make it. Take that, cover it over the top, you put it over a bed of rice, it looks beautiful. Right now, I'm serving my family, so they're hungry. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was well enough for you, and here you go. Lightly glazed teriyaki chicken with lime cilantro rice.
Yeah.